Thanks for coming and talking to me today, Clenton, about social care future and what we think is important for the future of social services and social care. I just found that you were a really powerful voice for social work and also around hope as well. And I was saying that my friend actually watched the panel speak and he was really moved by what you said, particularly. He's actually been a Paralympic athlete, and he had some involvement from social services, and he wasn't sure whether social workers were good people, he said, but he felt that hearing our conversation that they were, and it's actually inspired him to want to be a social worker himself now. And I thought that was a really good sign that our conversation was worthwhile, that it was like a massive good thing for that. And yeah, I just wanted to carry on the conversation further in case anyone wasn't aware of social care future and just the whole idea around it as well.
No, I'm really honoured that anybody wants to listen.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I'm a bit of a broken record about social care, but I want everyone to have that experience of what good social care and working with a social worker can do. Because for me, my social worker helped me frame how we should live. Does that make sense? She helped me explore that, but also how we should care about each other. And then she also helped me to grow my capabilities.
Yeah.
And see the art of the possibility, for a better word, but also how to relearn love again and fully realise I had potential. That's what she did for me, and that's what good social work is for me.
And I think that's just brilliant that's been your experience. And I think there's probably some people that are going to watch this that would be like, and how do you do that? I mean, was there anything that she particularly did that you thought was important?
Persistence, because I wasn't a nice person after my accident. I'll be totally honest. Trust was a massive issue growing up because, my family saw professionals as goody two-shoes, that they're nosy Parkers, to be polite.
Yeah.
And they wanted to know your inside, leg measurements and everything, but not really caring about you.
Yeah.
Asking questions, but not really caring about you. So my trust of any person in officialdom, whether that was police or ambulance, I just didn't trust. So after my accident, I didn't trust anyone, any human being, because I was in a dark place. I didn't know anything about the words and the labels that were given to me, like post-traumatic stress disorder. I was told labels like hero, victim, fool, because I intervened to try and save someone's life. But that just felt right.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I then, in a coma, waking up and seeing everybody at the edge of my bed after I didn't really realise how much time had gone past, and being told 5 months had gone past. That was, to me, very scary, but just seeing people really frightened.
Yeah.
And then me looking up, don't know what's going on. I've got all these tubes and people trying to stop me from pulling out tubes and that, because I was scared.
Yeah.
I'll be totally honest, I was frightened.
Yeah. That's
petrified. Everyone telling you, oh, you should be grateful that you're alive. I'll be totally honest. I was grateful, but that lasted, probably 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's
like that Americanized thing, isn't it, around you should just be really happy all the time, and it's like, no, you've gone through extreme trauma, you need some support.
But I didn't even know about the trauma, and there was an actual label for this, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't until it was my social worker who figured that out.
Yeah.
At the time, to me, I saw NHS and social care as two tribes. I referred to it as two tribes with their own industrial language, for better words.
Yeah.
In NHS, I'm a patient.
Yeah.
In social care, I'm a service user.
Yeah.
And for me, that it's all it told me that was I was a passive, people were doing stuff to me.
Yeah, just a passive recipient, and it's quite dehumanizing language. Well, it really is dehumanizing, isn't it? And that's the thing, like what you've emphasized when I've heard you previously, it's about we're human beings, aren't we? And we need to have human to human interactions and conversations, don't we? And just get through things that are hard, like together. And that sounds like what your social worker did for you.
Oh, yeah, there's a South African phrase, our family talk about Ubuntu, and it's about I am because of you.
Yeah.
So it's about we, us.
Yeah.
It's about humanity.
Yeah.
And we've kind of forgotten. I think we've gone too far with public services, that it's become a transactional element, and that's why we end up dehumanizing people, because we use data to hide behind to make it look like it's just a transaction. It's about outputs, not about outcomes, even though we confuse outcomes by using outputs, and they are two separate things.
Yeah.
And it's about relationship. Anything that you do, it's about relationship. Even in a transaction, you have to have an element of relationship within it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when I think about all the feedback I've ever had, from people that have remembered me or written me something, they've always said it was a relationship. They never looked at like a service I put in for them or something. It's always, you made me feel like this, or I felt like we clicked on this level. And I think that that's something that's really important for newer qualified social workers to know, because sometimes you can feel like you're going in and you need to have all the answers, but really that's not actually what people want. They want to work in partnership. So
exactly, working in partnership. And it's about, the core ingredient was persistence and seeing me as a human being that was hurting, angry with the world.
Yeah.
Some people can't handle that, especially if you're in the mindset of a transactional.
Yeah, that I'm going to write that down, because that's what it is. I tried to actually film something myself the other day, and I was trying to articulate it, but especially over the coronavirus pandemic, I've been speaking to people over the phone, and people have been giving me, a lot of people are irritated, and sometimes they're shouting at you over the phone, and they haven't met you in person, so you're just someone on the end of the phone, aren't you? And it's like,
exactly,
it's different, but I've recognized the importance of just not making it about myself, and just trying to think, what can I do to make this a little bit easier for this person that's clearly experiencing stress here in this situation. And it's really helped just taking that step back, because it's like people where their family members are in nursing homes and they're not able to see them, they're not able to see the rooms, all these things that make things right for people, we can't do at the moment. And
exactly. And I would say the thing to remind social workers is, and sometimes some social workers, not all, forget that you're entering into someone's life that is at crisis.
Yeah.
So critical thinking on my part has gone out the window.
Yeah.
I'm in fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
So it's about having the skills to listen to some of that, I'd call it, uncomfortable, not sympathy, it's empathy that I talked about. Sympathy is quite easy.
Yeah.
Empathy is real skill.
Yeah.
I would say as an ultimate for human beings, and especially for social workers entering into the lives of whether that's children or adults.
Yeah.
The biggest skill I think is needed is empathy.
Yeah, I totally agree. It just helps in every situation, and it's it is the main ingredient, isn't it? And I'm just thinking about every situation. Sometimes I am uncomfortable in situations where, a lot, lately I've been going in where people have been exploited for, in situations, or there's drug and alcohol, and it's not something that I've personally experienced in my own family. And I sometimes feel like, I'm really how can I help this person? But in every situation, I've found that I can, because it's just about listening and finding out what matters to that person, and then you can find a way forward for it. And
exactly. And the key element, Karen, as a social,
yeah,
it was outside of her worldview, what she was hearing from
yeah,
me. And I could tell, but what she did was she just listened.
yeah,
She says she was honest, saying, Clinton, I haven't got a clue how you must be feeling.
yeah,
And what I picked up was her vulnerability in actually just listening to me. And I could see it was uncomfortable to her. But putting herself in that space then told me, bloody hell, it started to build up the trust.
Yeah.
And trust isn't given. Trust is earned by not by your words, it's by your deeds, your action.
Yeah.
That's another thing. One of the things is, for me, I'm not just going to open up to someone I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the problem with everything being like fast paced and you have no time. It's like you can't expect people, to just want to share everything about intimate details about what they're facing just straight away. And people, social workers need to be given time to build those relationships. And I think that you can do it quickly sometimes, if you have to. Like, I've worked in hospital and I have been able to build rapport with people, but there's a difference between that and when you're going through, when you build that relationship over time as well.
And rapport and relationship building for me are two different things. The thing that needs to be discussed is, how does context and situation play out when we're talking about, if you're in hospital, rapport is built quite quickly.
Yeah.
Because you're in that phase of doing two.
Yeah.
And doing four. But when you come out in the context of in somebody else's, living room, it's how do you play out holding, I'll call it the image I have, it's like spinning plates.
Yeah.
Building rapport, building relationships, being an active listener.
Yeah.
Because an active listener is very tiring.
Yeah.
And some people just listen to reply.
You're definitely right. That's something that you have to tell yourself to make sure you're doing it, because you find yourself slipping into it, don't you?
Exactly.
And it's like a muscle that if you're really aware of it, you can build it, can't you? But
exactly.
It takes effort, because I don't think it's a natural thing. Like, it could, well, maybe it is a natural thing, I don't know, but it's something that you have to really think about.
And it is a natural thing, but we've, I think, lost connection with it as human beings, not just in the profession of social work. It's just as human beings, we've lost connection of how to listen and be an active listening.
And be present in the moment.
Present, being here,
and
now, in the now as well, is important. But when we talk about listening, most people listen to reply.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying, is it helpful in that context and situation that you're finding yourself in?
And then if we bring it back to what we said before around, if people are, projecting things onto you, or they're like irritated or feeling scared, like, you really need to listen, because that's when you find something that's appropriate to say. Because if you're jumping in with your own thing, people don't. That's the thing. That's something that I figured out, actually, over the past few years.
But that's really important, because some people don't figure that out.
Yeah.
But those are the essence of what good social work is for me. Yeah. And people say, oh, yeah, you're talking about the soft skills, but they're so important, really important, for when you're talking to another human being.
Yeah.
But we don't do enough work around that, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, you mean in university and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just in university, schools.
Yeah.
And, growing up and thinking about what we do about children.
Yeah.
I don't like the word resilience.
Okay.
And resilience means, to me, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, or you just need to.
Yeah.
I don't like the term resilience.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And for me, I'm more comfortable with is resourcefulness.
Yeah.
And what I mean by resourcefulness, you need that first before you can do resilience, because you need the skills and knowledge to understand how you deal with your emotions.
Yeah.
Because we don't do that. You know, I grew up, like, boys don't cry.
Yeah.
Think about what that internally does to you when you, how you face adversity or not. And to me, it starts, the building blocks start way back in school.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I noticed on your email that you had a Brené Brown quote, and I'm just wondering if you like her work around shame.
Oh, I love her work around shame and guilt, and how we see guilt plays out in our lives, in our everyday life.
Yeah.
And it played out for me personally after the accident. I blamed myself, felt guilty for not being able to not get that attack and being stabbed 26 times. And I played that video in my mind. And that's what caused my nightmares and to do with post-traumatic stress disorder. But I didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
And not having good foundation to deal with shame and guilt and blame.
Yeah.
We think about it, and that's why, for me, the power of vulnerability, most people think vulnerability is a weakness.
Yeah.
So how does that, you know, for me, that will shape how you deal with a crisis.
Yeah.
Social workers are no different.
Yeah.
And that, you know, how they have their own dealing with shame, guilt, will operate how their practices.
Yeah.
So, you know.
No, definitely. I've reflected on that a lot myself, because I did a Dare to Leave program recently. So I've been really thinking about it myself and how it plays out. But yeah, overall, so I think we've covered a lot today. But I just wondered if you wanted to mention about the Social Care Future movement and how people can find out about it.
I'm passionate about social care and social care movement, and it's been led by people who use services and carers, but alongside our allies. This isn't about, and I use the metaphor of what social care future as a movement is trying to do, is bridge building.
Yeah.
About how we create that space for the vision to happen. And social care talks about the vision as we all want to live in the place we call home, with the people and things that we love, in communities where we look out for one another, doing the things that matter to us. To me, that's really important. And that's what everybody we talk to, even in the system, from social workers, DASIs, CQC, improvement agencies, everyone in the system and people who use services, no one disagrees with that.
Yeah.
What we disagree with is what the form social care might take to deliver that, what the function might be to deliver that vision. We haven't had those talks. We've been stuck on talking about finance.
Yeah.
Not what social care is and what it should be. And to me, no one disagrees that the workforce shouldn't have more money.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not about more of the same.
Yeah.
I don't want that. And most people I hear and listen to don't want that. And I don't believe, we keep talking about social care needs fixing.
Yeah.
I don't believe social care needs fixing. The problem, social care is working exactly the way it was supposed to work. Equality wasn't at the forefront of when the system was being thought about.
Yeah.
Because if it was, it would be equitable, it would be fair, and it would be, you wouldn't get the most marginalised people not being able to get social care. The evidence is there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I'd say that for me, it's not about fixing. We need to talk about what is the form and function of social care. And I think the vision of we all want to live in a place we call home, with the people and things we love, in communities where we look out for one another, doing the things that matter to us, that starts to address, for me and others, the form and function element.
Yeah.
And what we want is more allies to come along with us to make that happen. Because for me, the debate has been set in free personal care. I just don't want to have someone I use the analogy of a house plant.
Yeah.
And the analogy of a house plant is it gets fed, watered, and if you're lucky, put in for some sunlight in a window. And if you're really lucky, you might talk to the plant. That's what some people say their experience of social care is. I don't want to just survive.
Yeah.
I want to thrive.
Yeah.
You know, I want to do the things that my class is ordinary, ordinary, mundane things in life.
Yeah. I think that's really clear, and I think it's going to give people a lot to think about.
I hope so.
Honestly, it's been absolutely brilliant. Like, I've written notes, but I know I'm going to watch this conversation a few times over, because you just really put things across in a really good way, and like I feel that it's going to give me lots to think about afterwards, like, and reflect on. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to me.
Well, I almost want to have another conversation maybe a few months down the line when we got some feedback from this, because it's just
more than happy, because you are making me think, and to try and one of the things that I'm thinking about how to try and articulate this better.
Yeah.
The more conversations I have with people, it's really helping.
Yeah. Good. Because I am an ally, so anything I can do to help, I'm here for.
Exactly. And just to leave you with two other things that I think social workers can do. Yeah. And the two are create opportunities. And what I mean by that, create opportunities for people to connect to their communities, to what matters most to them, but also see the potential in people. Yeah. And that's what my social worker did. Yeah. So created opportunities for me to connect. Yeah. And also saw potential in me, even though I didn't see potential in myself. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Brilliant. I apologise for waffling on.
You haven't waffled. Literally everything you say is like profound, I think. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you. If you enjoyed the video, please can you like and subscribe and press the bell if you'd like to be updated when I put out more videos. Thank you.